Welcome. If you enjoy this type of content, then subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of our latest and greatest uploads. In the years since, a judge gave the father of Britney Spears broad control over her life and finances. Concerned fans have questioned how the court could continue to deem her unable to protect and care for herself, despite the fact that she was still a performing pop star. Her father and others involved in the conservatorship maintained that it was a smooth-running machine that had rescued her from a low point and that it benefited Ms. Spears and that she could move to end it whenever she wanted. All the while, she stayed largely silent on the subject in public. But now, confidential court records obtained by the New York Times reveal that Ms. Spears, 39, expressed serious opposition to the conservatorship earlier and more often than had previously been known, and said that it restricted everything from whom she dated to the color of her kitchen cabinets. She articulated that she feels the conservatorship has become an oppressive and controlling tool against her, a court investigator wrote in a 2016 report. The system had too much control, Ms. Spears said. According to the investigator's account of the conversation, too much. Ms. Spears informed the investigator that she wanted the conservatorship terminated as soon as possible. She is sick of being taken advantage of, and she said she is the one working and earning the money, but everyone around her is on her payroll, the investigator wrote. In 2019, Ms. Spears told the court that she had felt forced by the conservatorship into a stay at a mental health facility and to perform against her will. Theirs has long been a difficult and dysfunctional relationship, according to the court records and interviews with many people who know the family. But that dynamic grew even more complicated after Ms. Spears, a recovering alcoholic who has faced accusations of physical and verbal abuse, took the lead in wrestling what he saw as his adult daughter's demons. Ms. Spears said her father was obsessed with her and wanted to control everything about her, according to the investigator's report. She could not make friends without his approval. Even as she earned millions from a successful Las Vegas residency, she said she was limited to a $2,000 weekly allowance, according to the records. Any mistakes resulted in very harsh consequences, Ms. Spears added. According to the report, the conservatorship comes with a lot of fear, she said. After consulting with Ms. Spears, her conservators, and her doctor, the probate investigator concluded in 2016 that the conservatorship remains in Ms. Spears' best interests based on her complex finances, susceptibility to undue influence, and intermittent drug use, though the report called for a pathway to independence and the eventual termination of the conservatorship. Jamie and Britney. What the court records make clear is that the battle over the conservatorship is rooted in the family's troubled history. Debbie Sanders Cross, Mr. Spears' first wife, who remained his friend, said his own very difficult upbringing had influenced his perspective. I really think that's why he's trying to be so protective of Britney, she said. Mr. Spears had spent much of his life in Kentwood, a tiny Louisiana town, where he was a star quarterback. His father, a Boilermaker, was strict and demanding. His daddy was so hard on him, but Jamie loved him and respected him, Mr. Spears' former football coach, Elton Shaw, recalled. Mr. Spears' youth was marked by tragedy. His mother died by suicide on the grave of her infant son when Mr. Spears was 13. According to the local paper, Mr. Spears survived a car accident that killed a football teammate 4 years later. At 22, he was arrested on drug and driving while intoxicated charges, according to a news report. When Lynn Spears, his second wife and Britney's mother, filed for divorce in 1980, she requested a temporary restraining order, citing a fear that he would become angry when he is served with these papers and harass or harm her, especially if he has been drinking alcoholic beverages, as he has done in the past. The couple reconciled, but Mr. Spears' instability haunted Ms. Spears' childhood, the family has said. In her 2018 memoir, Lynn recalls years of verbal abuse, abandonment, and erratic behavior. The family struggled financially, and in 1998, just months before the release of Ms. Spears' blockbuster first album, the Spearses filed for bankruptcy. The couple divorced in 2002. Ms. Spears said later that it was the best thing that ever happened to our family. Mr. Spears was present only intermittently during his daughter's rise to pop stardom. In 2004, according to a court filing, Mr. Spears went to rehab for alcoholism at the urging of his daughter. But by 2007, Ms. Spears was struggling herself. Humiliation by the press, stalking by the paparazzi, speculation around her mental health and substance abuse, and a custody battle over her 2 young sons helped lead Ms. Spears to a breaking point. Mr. Spears reappeared for what he and his ex-wife Lynn viewed as an urgent rescue mission. Along with his business manager, Louise M. Taylor, he prayed and fasted before he petitioned a judge for a temporary conservatorship of Ms. Spears. Lynn wrote in her memoir. Ms. Taylor later became a business manager of Ms. Spears' estate and an architect of her comeback. The singer stressed that she did not want her father in charge, a lawyer she consulted at the time has said. But the judge overseeing the case, 𝐦𝐨𝐬 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞, deemed Ms. Spears incapable of hiring her own counsel and appointed Mr. Ingram, the lawyer who represents her to this day. In February 2008, according to court records, Judge 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞 deemed Mr. Spears a suitable and qualified person and granted him broad control over his daughter's daily life and, alongside a co-conservator, her finances. Everything he does, he feels, is in the best interest of his daughters and his family, said 𝐦𝐨𝐽𝐤𝐞, a friend of Mr. Spears's. Ms. Spears quickly went back to work. Within a year of being deemed unable to care for herself, she guest starred on national television, released a #1 album, and was preparing to embark on a run of almost 100 shows around the world. Aside from his salary as a conservator, now about $16,000 per month plus $2,000 a month for office space rent, Mr. Spears was approved by the court to receive a percentage of various deals signed for his daughter. Ms. Spears previewed the tour behind her album, Circus, on Good Morning America in December 2008, less than a year after she was placed under the conservatorship. In 2011, he received a 2.95% commission for his work on Ms. Spears' successful Femme Fatale tour, and in 2014, he was granted 1.5% of gross revenues from the performances and merchandising tied to her Las Vegas residency, Piece of Me, which went on to earn a reported $138 million across nearly 250 shows. The dual role of looking out for Ms. Spears' best interests as conservator and reaping more profits each time she performed was fraught with conflict, according to W. Michael Hensley, a probate lawyer in California who worked as a fee examination expert and is not involved in the Spears case. Questioning her father's role. Confidential court records reveal Ms. Spears' concerns that her father was hardly the person to be setting and enforcing the rules that governed her life. Ms. Spears' first tour under the conservatorship, The Circus, starring Britney Spears, was designed to be a dry one, with cast and crew forbidden from drinking alcohol or even energy drinks around Ms. Spears, according to 3 people who worked on it. During this period, a former nanny and housekeeper for Ms. Spears claimed Mr. Spears engaged in verbal abuse, tirades, inappropriate behavior, and alcoholic relapses, according to a legal letter sent in 2010 that threatened a lawsuit. In 2014, Mr. Ingram told the court that Ms. Spears believed her father was drinking, according to a transcript of the closed hearing. Lawyers representing the conservatorship responded that Mr. Spears had voluntarily submitted to regularly scheduled alcohol tests and had never failed. Mr. Spears' lawyer said he took 1 random test but refused to take any more, calling the request inappropriate. Absolutely inappropriate, the judge replied, and who is she to be demanding that of anybody? Mr. Ingram told the court that his client was upset that it was not taking her concerns seriously. She said to me when she gave me the shopping list that she anticipates that, as it has been done before, the court will simply sweep it under the carpet and ignore any negative inferences with regard to Mr. Spears, Mr. Ingram said, according to a transcript. And with that, we've reached the end of this video, all about Britney Spears' battle with her dad. If you enjoyed it and you found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.